Good morning, everyone. Welcome to MSP Unplugged's Resource Thursday with Gradient MSP. I'm your host, Rick Smith. This is the place to learn tips, tricks, and strategies to help run your IT service business. Whether you're a one-person shop or leading a team for the journey, this is the place for you. My co-host, who you normally used to seeing on to my right here, Paco Lebron, he's out today, feeling a little under the weather. I guess he got a little bit of Christmas bug, I guess, or pre-Christmas bug. But our guest today is Colin Knox. He is the co-founder and CEO of Gradient MSP. Hey, Colin, how are you today?
I'm doing good. And you, Rick?
I'm doing great, man. And I appreciate you
Awesome.
coming by.
Yeah,
Um,
happy to be here.
good. For those, I'm sure everyone's or most of the audience is familiar with Colin. He's been here. He's been here before, and he's got a very good story that I'm sure if you've been to some of the conferences or some webinars that have gone on, you probably have, seen Colin at some point somewhere. And if nothing else, you should know his company, Gradient MSP. But Colin, for those who don't know you, which I think may be a very small bit of the audience, give us a little background on you,
Yeah.
where you come from, and how you got to Gradient MSP.
Sure. So started in IT early career. I jumped in, was doing systems administration and help desk for a really large company. Ended up getting sick of big company politics and all the red tape there. And so I started looking for a job and stumbled into my first IT provider company. It was really small. They were not called MSPs yet, but joined. I was the fourth person to join that company and doing IT consulting and outsourced IT for small and some really small businesses, and kind of went on and worked for a couple other IT/MSP type businesses before doing my own. So I built my MSP, started that in 2009, grew that to 4 million in 5 years. Was able to grow that one fairly quickly. Ran that through the recession, kicked it off at the height of the recession in 2009, and then I was fortunate to exit that to a national private equity-backed player, and had already founded a cybersecurity company for MSPs called Passportal, and drove that business for really operated that business for 4.5 years and helped thousands of MSPs secure their most privileged credentials before a little company called SolarWinds, now Enable, acquired us in 2019. And after getting everything going there, took some time off and got bit by the bug again, different bug than Paco, and got going with Gradient again, trying to build some more solutions that can really help MSPs truly run better businesses and find greater success.
So you just truly couldn't stay away from the industry, huh?
Couldn't stay away. You know what? The subreddit's too addicting when you start reading that and posting some stuff and doing things. And yeah, no, it's fortunate to have really good experiences and history running businesses like you guys do, and would love to be able to help impart any sort of my knowledge or wisdom that I've gained along the years to help other people find success. So
Really cool, really cool. I remember I think it was this summer at of course was known you and seen you a couple of places, but
yeah,
I remember this summer in Jersey City. Well, I can't think of the conference, but
build it.
Build It, right? And I remember sitting there, and when you presented there,
Were
and I
you
was like,
there?
wow. Yeah, I was there. I was there.
That was a keynote, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good though. It was very interesting. And your story is very compelling for your history and what you've done. It's very compelling. But tell us a little bit now about Gradient, what you guys
Yeah.
do, where you're going.
Yeah. So a lot of people know about Gradient for sure. We engaged with over 13,000 MSPs this year. But there's a lot of people who still don't quite understand what we do, and so I've taken that message very clearly, and we're our marketing team is clarifying messaging. But the gist of it is while we're building a platform that offers a variety of different solutions and services and stuff, the name of the game for us is to bridge that gap that exists between all of the solutions that an MSP uses and resells and positions out to their clients, and that gap that exists between all of those and their PSA. Because back in the days where there was only 2 PSAs, we all know ConnectWise and Autotask, that wasn't a problem. But now that we have so many different PSAs that, across Halo and Pulseway and Kaseya's VMS and Synchro and Atera and everything else, vendors just aren't building those integrations anymore because of the high cost of R&D and all the other business requirements that go into being able to attach to those platforms to serve MSPs. So we've been caught in this purgatory of complacency where an MSP has to do so many manual things in their business that really drains them and causes a lot of opportunity for human error that really just needs to be bridged and solved. So that's where we come in, and we deliver an integration platform that allows you to automate and attach your systems for billing to your PSA to make sure that you're billing the right amounts for all of your clients and all of your different services. And now we've got an alerts module to make sure that you're not just getting lost in dumpster fire mailboxes and shared mailboxes where email alerts dump to, or having to check 50 different monitoring consoles. And so that's what we do and offer is a way to make sure that everything flows properly to your PSA, regardless of what PSA you use. And then we offer that as an integration program to channel vendors so that they only have to build one integration, and we can attach them through and help them reach more MSPs and make their existing partners happier.
Cool. I remember I guess it was the early spring, Paco was talking about, he's a Gradient user, and he was talking about how using your platform helped him realize they were not billing for certain products or for certain things they were offering, products they were offering that they were not actually billing for, that he realized that I think he said that number was $7,500 or $3,500, something like that.
Yeah,
that's a significant number.
We've got a good case study with him. It was $36,000 in annual revenue that he wasn't billing clients for, right? And now we're doing a webinar actually later today with Jay McBain, but the recording will be available, and we'll make sure that that's out there. But it's kind of nuts to see. So the average MSP these days is profiting $77,000 a year, right? And that's the median, right? That's where most people are falling. So when you think about somebody like Paco that finds $36,000 that he wasn't billing for, yet he's bearing the cost burden on all of those licenses, right? That's a 50% gain to his profit. That's a 50% gain to his free cash flow. So that's the problem that we're looking to solve. And we've got MSPs that have found hundreds of thousands of dollars. But beyond all that, just the time savings and the frustration and being able to just run your business and do your business and focus on the things that actually drive results, so that you don't have to be, burning the midnight oil, doing billing on a Friday night or over the holidays here or whatever, right? Spend that time with your family.
Right. And we had a show on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, and we were talking about we started out talking about end of the year, what we're doing for our clients for the end of the year, Christmas gifts, things like that. But one of the things we do in the beginning is a tip, trick, or strategy. And I had attended there was a webinar going on, but I didn't attend it. But I had tested out a program from Lifecycle Insights, which is stack alignment. And we talked about knowing, aligning what you're offering, figuring out if what you're offering is, do all your clients have it? And then that transitioned to a conversation about Gradient and Gradient figuring out if what you're offering, you're actually billing for.
It's a big thing, right? And not even just that, so in our billing module in particular, we make sure that you can actually see the total revenue and the profit per each of your products that you're offering, products or services, right? Because that's the other problem, right? So what are all my clients using? Am I billing them all for it all properly? But am I charging enough? Right? Because the name of this game isn't to deliver a ton of services to a ton of clients. It's to make money,
Exactly.
right? At the end of the day, it's to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know if a service is not making you money, yet you're burning time and effort on that service, then why the hell are you delivering it? Either cut it or increase the price, right? So we're able to show what the profit, what the revenue is on each service. And that really helps drive things, right? And the other part, and something that we talk about and we'll be talking about in the webinar later today, is this whole debate that goes on in the industry around service bundling versus a consumption model of a la carte and having listed services. And we're actually seeing, and I'm not going to spoil it because I want everybody to watch that webinar too, but we're seeing some really interesting statistics now and all the data that's in our platform, right? We've got almost 800 partners on our platform doing billions of dollars in reconciled revenue across hundreds of thousands of contracts. We're seeing very notable discrepancies between companies that are service bundling and companies that are not bundling. And I won't say what they are or which way it goes. So check out our website and find it if you're watching this after the fact. But you really need to know what your cost up is. You need to know where you're making money and where you're not. So it's a big thing that's driven a lot of value for our partners.
That's interesting. Let me ask you this. So from asking from a perspective of, let's say you don't know, Gradient would integrate with most of your service, your vendor providers, and then integrate, or is that a manual process that you put in your places and it integrates with your PSA?
So we've got both, right? So
Okay.
on our website, we've got, I got a quick link to our website. When you go to our website, if you just click integrations at the top, we've got a ton of integrations that in different types. So you would attach your PSA, and once you attach your PSA or connect your PSA, which takes you like 2 minutes with us, if that, you come in. Now we've got a whole bunch of direct integrations. So like I mentioned earlier, other vendors are building integrations with us because they want to attach to PSAs. They just can't afford to build all of those integrations.
Right.
So they connect to us. So I think we've got 14 or 15 vendors now across various security services and backup and stuff like that push all this information into us. So you can come into our screen and you see everything's already sitting there. We're telling you what your PSA is set to bill. We're telling you what, Datto is saying is being used by that client, what's going on there. And then you've got that visibility. You can edit it, you can decline it or deny it, or you can approve it and write it right back to your PSA. On the other hand, we've got over 100 vendors that we support their usage dumps and usage exports for. So when you get those out of your partner portal, or if they email them to you, you just drag and drop them into our system. We ingest all of that data, do the comparative analysis right away, and then again, boom, it's done. So you're not going cross-eyed looking between a partner portal and this spreadsheet and these 50 different contracts in your PSA and everything else. It's just there. Right? We can tell you month over month what's happening with each product, with each client, and how that stuff is flowing.
Cool. Okay. Because I know that a lot of us track that, right now via spreadsheet. And it goes back to what you said. You're finding the bill, pulling it all out, trying to do it, and then it's a manual process as opposed to just knowing each month. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now going forward, there's a second product here, right? Or another?
Yeah, second module.
Okay.
So that's our alerts module. And it just comes to that same thing, right? Is man, I got my ass kicked so many times by clients when I was an MSP. And it wasn't because we screwed up, it's because we missed an alert, right?
Mm-hmm.
We missed something. And it was like, oh, hey, I need this file recovered. And then the team goes to recover that file. Backups haven't been running. Oh, shit. Go look. Oh, man, we missed all the failed backup notices in this shared mailbox, right? They're not creating tickets. Or, hey, I think there's a virus going on here and it starts, causing issues for a user. You go in, holy crap. This computer didn't have antivirus installed. There was no ticket created for it, or it was just an alert sitting in the RMM, right? There's a lot of things going. And now when you look at it, the average MSP is offering 17 different services to their clients. 17 services.
Mm-hmm.
The bulk of those, like vast majority, are security. But what are security solutions for? Monitoring, alerting, and protecting, right? And if something falls out of line, it lets you know so that you can do something about it.
Right.
You can't do anything about it unless you're watching 17 different screens. And that's not reasonable, right? And all of those companies aren't doing it. So we have a lot of those businesses, they're pushing their alerts now into Gradient so that we deposit a service ticket in the PSA for the MSP and their technicians. Just go to your ticket queue. Whatever ticket queue you tell whichever service to drop it in, and you can do different ticket queues or service boards for different products and everything else. But you just focus on that ticket queue now. And then Gradient lets you know, hey, boom, you got to deal with this. All right, now I'll hop over there and work in this screen, and things are handled, things are done. I'll fix the backups, I'll do whatever, right? And it's just kind of across the whole board of ticketing. And so we've got a few really good integrations with that so far. There's a lot more coming, and I think over 2023 it'll be really neat to watch how that expands and the rules and logic that we're building in, so that you don't just get flooded with tickets, but it's the important alerts that matter to you, and being able to control what does and doesn't create tickets and how they get created, and standardize that format to just make your techs more effective and less things falling through the cracks.
Right. Check the checker, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense for us, because there are, and you said it, and there are times you just miss things, no matter how many eyes you have on it. For whatever reason.
Dude, we had wall boards, like we used Bright Gauge back in the day, and we had I want to say we had 8 TVs in our NOC at our MSP, and stuff would happen, and then you'd look up, and it had been on the screen in front of us for like a week. But people just, it becomes a decoration, right? They're not actually watching it. They're not actually doing stuff about it. And so with this, it's, you know what, you're going to the ticket queue to find out what the hell you got to work on. We put it there. We make sure it's there.
Right. And that's cool. With the times we're going through now, with the quote unquote financial challenges, and some of the prognostications of what's to come. Mm-hmm. Things like this, you can't afford to miss anything. You can't afford to miss any in your billing, but to be under billing. And secondly, to miss alerts or things that you could easily fix, because those can cost you relationships, can cost you clients if you miss something that
absolutely.
That was evident, and particularly if it was right in front of you, you just didn't see it for whatever reason.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, you look at what's happened in the public market since July now, right? You're talking 75-80% drops in market caps and valuations. You've got already there's businesses starting to go out of business. Every day you hear about layoffs. Every single day you're hearing about layoffs. We did layoffs, right? We're hearing about all of the stuff from the capital markets about what's coming and what's going on, and all the indicators. Oh man, I couldn't be more excited for the potential for Gradient right now. And I actually feel like I invested in Zoom pre-COVID for us, right? Because when COVID happened and everybody went remote, what happened to Zoom? Everybody needed now a way to meet remotely, and they're going with the leader, and they went nuts. For me, we've spent the last 2 years building a platform that works, that's proven, with 800 partners and billions being reconciled and millions of dollars found and everything else. I'm sitting here going, we're the dream for any MSP to prep themselves and prepare for a recession and flow through it. We're making sure you know what's profiting and what's not. At a glance, you can decide we're not offering that service anymore. I don't care that the revenue's gone. We are not making money there. Holy crap, this service is making us a ton of money on percentage wise. We need that across all of our clients. Let's go, right? Holy shit, we haven't been billing for this for all of these clients, right? Making your money, tuning your business, getting all of that. And then, on the customer experience side, everybody's watching now. where all their dollars are going and what they're getting value for. If they start to see, oh, they're missing alerts, we had this challenge, we had this issue, they overbilled us, they came back and asked us for a bunch more money later because they say that they forgot to bill us, that all deteriorates the relationship and the experience. And then all of a sudden they go, well, maybe these aren't the best people to be doing our IT if we're spending
They're
this
not on
money.
top of
And now
everything.
I'm going to start shopping, right? No, tighten up your service delivery, make sure you're not missing or dropping balls, make sure that you're billing accurately, because that is the other side of the billing equation, is not just what you're missing, what you're overbilling for.
Right.
And we do have some partners who it's been thousands and thousands that they've been overbilling. And while that's an unfortunate find, it's a good thing they find that now before their client comes back and does a deeper review and goes, why have we been paying for these 15 users that aren't even here anymore? So, we want to make sure. So I'm really excited to be able to have the platform that we do right now at this position, and not excited for the economic challenges that are coming in, but I'm looking forward to being able to help a lot of MSPs and hopefully be in a position where when this all comes back together in 24 or 25, that they go, Gradient got me through, and that's what I'll take as my big pin in my lapel.
Yeah, and that does, I think about, they say the first thing that happens when times get tough or things get tight is you look inward. And
Yeah.
meaning basically you look at your business, because 9 times out of 10, there's growth within the business as opposed to out of the business. And that goes back to what you're saying, stuff you've missed, whether you're overbuilding or underbilling, whether you're not or realizing what's profitable, what's not, who you should be offering. But as you said, which I guess a lot of us may not realize, is there are times where you don't realize what you make on a particular product or service, that
Yeah.
you basically underestimate it and realize that, hey, this is of course, let's all hope that this is a product that is doing what it needs to do to help your client, but this is a potential profit center for us that we need to put more emphasis on. So, I think, as we're looking through the times coming up now, or, whether you feel like you're in those recession times or the recession is coming, the first thing to do is to look inward, right?
Yes.
See where you can tighten the ship to make sure that, everything in-house is fine before you start looking for solutions and opportunities out of house. Now, with that, I'm going to tap into your vast experience as an MSP, as a vendor and business owner. What should, outside of the great things that you're talking about that Gradient can help us with, what should we in the industry be, I guess, looking out for and be, preparing ourselves to do to get through these times?
And there's so many things. You covered the most important starting point is inward, right? Is what do we need and what do we not need? And that's your first thing, right? Look at the year. What is non-negotiable? What do you absolutely still need? And anything you don't, you cut. And perks you can bring back later. I guarantee you, people will be grateful still having a job instead of having the snacks and coffee, or instead of having the weekly lunch brought in, right? Knowing that they have job security, that the business is being prudent in tough times is important. So take the things that are not necessary and cut them, but tell your staff why. Say we're preparing, we're getting ready and stuff, right? And then what you do need, what can you negotiate on that? All of your clients come calling to you to say, hey, we got to cut prices by 15%, 20, 30%. You need to go to your downstream suppliers too. And yes, I'm a vendor. We're very low cost anyways, but go and look at what your biggest spends are and start negotiating with those vendors, right? It's time to make sure that you're taking care of your cost base. Now you have a better understanding of where your profit is going to be and what flexibility you have with your clients when they come knocking and asking for discounts, right? Implement a tool like Gradient. Like, hell, man, our solution starts free. Like you can use one standard integration for free and do your CSV imports from all your vendors for free. You get all that visibility. It's free. So why the hell would you not take us up on that and find out where you are making profit, where you're not making profit? Make sure you're billing and getting paid for everything that you're delivering right now. Because your books or when you do your own little contract analysis, it may look like you're making profit, but if you're not billing for all of those things, I guarantee you're not having that cash flow in to realize that profit, right? Tighten up your ship. Do things like that to start, right? Now that the inside, like you said, focused inward is done, now is what can other people do for you and what can you do for other people, right? The what can other people do for you? That's people like Gradient. Hey, we're going to help you with that stuff. That's focused inward. That's your downstream suppliers negotiating discounts. The big part about what you can do for other people is establishment of value. Now, when you're going to your clients and talking to them about how you can prep them, that you've already done a preliminary review of their IT budget to say, this is where I think you guys can cut project spend, this spend, that spend. Now they're like, these guys are saving us money, not costing us money, right? You're establishing that. You're making sure that they understand what they're getting, right? Breaking it out, making sure that you're showing them, hey, here's the situation. Guess what? In times like this, when people are getting laid off and things are changing and there's shifts in suppliers and everything else, that's when the bad guys are out there going, this is the time to attack, right? I just saw somebody's LinkedIn post that they got laid off. Oh, interesting. So this company's doing layoffs. I'm going to go in and just start talking to people as that person, and maybe they don't even know if it's a large enough company that person's gone, or they don't know when their last day is. And I can start asking for information. I can start doing things. I can, there's all of these things. And now I could also guess their email address. How many companies are compliant on offboarding procedures and stuff like that? And do a dark web search on their email, see if there's a pass. There's all of these things and security incidents that happen. So showing your clients and explaining this to them and saying, human error is going to happen, transition and flux is going to happen. These are the exact services we offer to make sure that you don't get hit by ransomware during this, that you don't get hit by phishing attacks during this, that you don't get hit with all of these types of incidents, which with a lean company now does not have the luxury of lost productivity. This is how we're protecting your business and establishing that and going to them as an IT partner that's not an expense to them, but you are part of their budget. You are part of making them money and helping them survive. That's the biggest area.
Sounds good. It's about, and if I could take what you said, to me, it sounds like explain to the customer or showing the customer the value you bring, other than just, the value you bring to their business, and you're not just the tech guy who,
but translate it to something that makes sense and actually matters to them. It's interesting how many people get lost in what they think the value is and what they do. And I'll give you an example of that. So we have investors. We raised our 10 some million dollars a year ago. We have a board of directors that we have board meetings for. Well, my leadership team needs to put together updates and everything else for me to present to the board and talk. And for a long time, I would get all of this information about what they thought the value was and what they were doing, why they cared about what initiatives they were on. And the fact of the matter is the board doesn't care about that. They need to think, why would the board care about what I want to tell them? How does this make us stronger, better, richer, right? Or faster? Mm-hmm. That's it. I don't care that you are like tuning SEO to get in this ranking or whatever. I don't care that you're getting this many impressions or this many, demo requests or what. I care about is what matters to me. How does this get me a return on my investment? How does this make my business better? Right? And so as an MSP, all of your clients are your boards of directors. So when you're out there doing a TBR, when you're out there talking to them, as a proactive approach to this economic headwind that's coming in, establish why, and just think to yourself, why the fuck do they care? What would matter to them right now? me coming in and saying, we made sure that you had 99.9% uptime this month or the last quarter. Yeah, I expected that.
Right. Exactly.
Right? Tell me what you did for me lately. And we all know that as an MSP, right? Speak to that. Tell them how you've actually protected them. Make that link about, hey, if this happens, you lose productivity. You're running at half staff, my friend. That can't go down. That can't happen, right? You just let these people go. That's all open doors for hackers to come in and get after you now and impersonate those people or whatever, right? It's all of this stuff. Translate it back. We've negotiated down our costs. We've reviewed your IT budget. We've eliminated non-necessities. Here you go, right? Also, when you're negotiating with a client that's coming back saying, I need to cut expenses by 15 or 20%, hey, awesome. That doesn't mean that you have to cut your profit by 15, 20%, by the way. You can say, okay, here's the 12 services I'm offering you today. My recommendation would be to not touch these ones, get rid of these ones. Why would I tell you to do that instead? Because you're not just cutting profit out, you're cutting an expense out as well. You're not then paying for their seats and licenses on those things. You have a cost burden on. Just cut it. And focus on maybe cutting ones that you can live with that aren't your own services, and don't cut your services. Make sure your per user, typical maintenance and IT support and everything else, that goes untouched. I might cut phishing simulation training, phishing simulation for a period of time. I might cut dark web monitoring for a period of time. I might cut, certain things like that. That, hey, they've been doing security awareness training for a year or 2 years now. I think we're good. Let's only, look at that again next year, right? And I'm not saying that against any vendors here, but I'm just saying, like, let's be reasonable about, in a time, how you can protect your business as an MSP and not take the hit so hard.
Wise words. Thank you for that. We're coming up on the bottom of the show, so I do want to thank you, Colin, for your time here. I do have we touched on a few things, and is there? We always ask this question, but is there anything you feel like we didn't touch on that you would like to get out to the audience?
No, I think we covered a ton. I mean, I encourage everybody to check us out at meetgradient.com. Sign up for your account, request a demo if you're not ready to do that. It starts free. And it's only until you're trying to use more integrations or more features that it asks you to upgrade and pay for a solution. But in the meantime, if you're just curious where you might be missing, where you might not be making so much profit, hop in, take a look. Costs you nothing but a few minutes of time.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the show notes. I think if not, I think what you offer, particularly in these times, it makes a lot of sense. And as you say, if it's a free tier, at least to see what's going on. And I think a lot of times we hear or we see things, we say, oh, I don't necessarily know if that's for me. And then when you find out, what you've been missing, like, again, Paco's story is
his was in like one day or something, dude, or a couple, like he signed up and stuff, but it was in his first time actually going through it. And he was plugged the info in and was like, holy crap. And he came to us at the show right away and was like, I found $3,000 a month I wasn't billing for. Right? How long has that been going on? It's crazy, man.
Right. And it's lost money is probably one of the biggest heart stabbers in the world. It's like, this is not an opportunity, it's an opportunity you missed out on, but it was only because for whatever reason, you didn't check all of the boxes to see what was going on. So, and that definitely it definitely makes free worth it. And whatever the next tier is, I know you guys have your pricing on your website, so we don't have to go through it, but whatever the next tier is, it still makes it worth it if you can find.
Oh yeah, man.
And the other thing about that too is, and I'll say this before we sign off, is just, the first part you said that was real compelling to me is just knowing what you're making on each product you sell, right? Or each service you offer. Knowing that is very important, because there are a lot of people who do not know what they're making, or they would be surprised to know what they thought they were making or losing is not exactly what it is. So,
Yeah.
it's definitely something to look at. But Colin, again, I do want to thank you for your time here.
Yeah.
If anyone wanted to get in touch with you or reach out to Gradient, I know we got meetgradient.msp.
Yeah, meet Gradient,
excuse me.
meetgradient.com. On any social, find me at Reality Knox, KNOX, and yeah, happy to talk, happy to be here. Super grateful to have the opportunity to join you today.
Hey, yeah, thanks so much. And for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to give one more thanks to Colin and Gradient MSP. They were a platinum sponsor of TechCon Unplugged this past September. We greatly appreciated their time, their energy, their effort, their teachings to the community. So, again, I do want to express that thanks for you guys coming out and supporting our show as well.
Absolutely. Happy to support you.
Okay. For everyone, tune in every Tuesday and Thursday. You can watch the video podcast on youtube.com/MSP Unplugged. You can also catch us on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, and also on Twitter. What we need to do is like, subscribe, and hit that notification button whenever a new episode is available. If you think Paco and I have a face for radio, this is not you, Colin, but you can always just catch us on your favorite podcatcher. We're on Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, as well as a few more. For Paco, Colin, and I, I'd like to thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on MSP Unplugged.